Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again. So I have to go over to the hospital, take my daughter over there. She needs a little care. And while I'm waiting for this care to be given, I'm walking around looking for something to read. And I pick up a magazine. And the subject of that magazine is The Informative God Challenging the Status Quo. Blew my mind. I mean, I talk about that all the time. So I want to read this article and see what these guys are talking about. If they're saying the same kinds of things that I've been saying. Only when I started reading it, they were talking about when people die, the continuation of life. Now, why in the world would I want to read about a continuation of life with all the problems we got right here? My focus is right here. So the subject matter, the informative God, challenging the status quo, is still an excellent subject. But if I was responding to it, I wouldn't be talking about after death. I'm talking about that informative God dealing with the status quo today. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I might not know why mankind is on the earth, but I do know why God's people are on the earth. They're on the earth to teach humankind how to live. You see, what we have, ladies and gentlemen, is this. Humankind is special. But when we really reflect on humankind, we have to think about something special. I mean, really special. And that is the Garden of Eden. See, humankind wasn't born with the Spirit of God, with the understanding of God, with the knowledge of God. We all come into this world absent that experience. I heard somewhere that it used to be here, but it's not here now. And so what we have is the Garden of Eden. Now, you know what you refer to the Garden of Eden as. For me, I talk about the Garden of Eden as being a woman's womb, whereby all of these people, all of these children come into this world in the Garden of Eden not having any understanding about God, no knowledge of God. All they have is people in the world doing all the things that the people in the world do. And in order for there to be a change, man has to be born again. You heard about born again. Born again with the Spirit. Right now they're just men in the world going crazy. But when God touches them, when God can reach them, when God does reach them, then they are born in the Spirit, meaning that they have changed from looking at things the way we look at things. Hey, wait a minute, you hear that? Well, looking at things the way people normally look at things. They look at it selfishly. They look at it greedily. They look at it all kinds of ugliness. But with God, He looks at it one way, beautiful. Now, when I say the title I gave you, listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. I want to make this explicitly clear. Humankind, they don't know God's way. Trump is a perfect example of that. No knowledge of God. He heard about God, no knowledge of God, no respect for God. Trump's respect is money. He doesn't have any respect for any life but his own. Maybe his kids, I don't know for sure. But definitely, if he got to choose between his kids and himself, he will go for himself every time. And so, when you start making policies as far as the government is concerned, as far as you, the people, are concerned, you aren't thinking about anything but selfishness. That's what you come into the world with. Me, me, me. Me, mine. Me, me, me. Oh Lord, me, oh mine. But nothing about us. But see, when God gets into your life and is alive in there in spirit, then your mind and everything, your focus changes from the selfishness to love, peace, and prosperity, and all of those wonderful kinds of things. So what I'm saying basically, if I gave this subject again, the informative God challenging the status quo. The status quo say you have to have money to do it and everything, food, clothing, shelter, education, health care, fun. You gotta have money to do that. And then with that being the case, and in order to use that money the way it is used. You got to make some people think that they're smarter than other people, so they deserve more than others. They deserve the best while others don't. In other words, they're supposed to be up and others are supposed to be down. That's the world in which we live in. That's why you got people saying death to the Jews. That's why you got some Muslims saying death to whoever they say death to. You got the, in Iran talking about death to the Jews. You got the racist white groups talking about death to everybody. So all of this is just humankind, absent God. When God comes in there, God says this is a beautiful thing. How do you eradicate all these problems? Prejudice, selfishness, racism, bigotry, lying, cheating, stealing. All a result of mankind absent God. Well, with God, you put God's love on the scale. And it is just. Because what it does, it allows every human being on the face of the earth who has requirements for survival to engage themselves in a special talent, a special gift that they've been given, and they can choose it as a career of their own choosing that gives them their greatest pleasure. And let's say we got 8 billion, I just use 8 billion people on earth. 8 billion people got an individual gift that they love doing. Many of them are repetitive, but they are yours nevertheless, and you love doing them. You all get yourselves out there and engage in your careers. The resources that you need for your careers has already been given by God. Seen or unseen, on the earth, in the earth, above the earth. All of it is there. You do your job, that thing that you love doing. And when you are doing it, all of a sudden you're going to see more food than you can ever imagine. More clothing and shelter than you can ever imagine. And it's not just being stacked and stored up. People got it. And you make the best stuff. Stuff don't be getting torn up so quick. Housing and education and healthcare, all of this stuff is free now. Why? Because you only got the people doing it who love doing it. And who are they doing it for? They're doing it for themselves and everybody else. They're doing it for themselves because they love doing it. They're doing it for everybody else because everybody else benefits from it. So all of a sudden, all the things that are made by the hands of man belong to man. And what man owns, he doesn't buy. He have access to it, just like going to your bank. Whatever you want, whatever you need, whatever you desire, go get it. Why? It's yours. It's yours. It's yours. It's yours. It's yours. That's the wonders of God's love. And there ain't no lying. There ain't no cheating. There ain't no stealing. There ain't no kidding. There ain't no bigotry. Ain't no racism. Ain't no prejudice. All that stuff is gone, and ain't no money. So, ladies and gentlemen, I realize that you're talking about 2020. And trying to get rid of Trump. It seems like everybody's just talking about getting rid of Trump. I hear more people talking about getting rid of Trump than what they plan to do when Trump gone. But I want to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever you plan on doing when Trump gone is not going to be successful under the mankind's perspective. See, what we've had for the past couple of years, we've had an influx of evil. I mean, magnified evil. You almost want to say the devil was walking around, lying, cheating, and doing everything, talking about people. Straight up devil. Now, you can't deal with that. Just a mankind coming back. Or what is mankind going to be talking about? The same old selfish stuff that allowed Trump to get in office. You need someone special. You need someone that's led by the Spirit of God. And how is that understood and recognized? It is not selfish. It is for I talked about 8 billion people a moment ago. It's for 8 billion people. Doesn't mean 8 billion people got to have the same thing. But they got to have access to whatever it is that they need, want, or desire. This is the difference. And God's plan is the only plan that can make that happen. So if you're thinking about getting some of these old Democrats who have been running for office before, they got nothing to offer. If you try to get some of these young Democrats who think they got something to offer, it's just a thought, they got nothing to offer. I guarantee you never heard a man talk, Pat Robertson talked about it, I think, a long time ago. But he was out of his mind. He was still talking about trying to kill people. Talking about causing people to suffer, to protect his own. That man didn't know anything about God, still doesn't know anything about God. So I have talked a little bit longer than I had planned to, and I've been gobbling my words up. I hope you got a chance to understand them. I just did it because I want you to get anything out of it that you can get, and it is important that I do not waste this moment. And so having done that, I hope and pray that it was a good thing for you. I hope you got the message that if you want a better world, you better turn to God. And when I say turn to God, I'm not just talking about turning to God or turning to a leader that God has given direction to show you the way to live, because that is not sufficient enough. In order for the change to come, you're going to have to accept God's way of living, and then you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to do God's way of living. You're going to have to stop being selfish and start being loving. There's no pretense. You're going to have to stop being selfish and being loving in order for peace and prosperity and justice and happiness to be manifest in your life. The only way you can get it is that way. Bye-bye.